Good evening, everyone. May I have your attention? We have been informed that Mayor Rogers is unable to be with us this evening. So in his absence, I am going to call this meeting of the regular meeting of the Board of Trustees, 11/6/2017, to order and call the roll at 6:35 p.m. Trustee Muhammad.
Here.
Trustee Stubbs.
Here.
Trustee House. Trustee Denton.
Present.
Trustee Pearson.
Present.
Trustee Henyard.
Present.
Thank you. At this time, I would ask for a motion from the trustees to appoint a mayor pro tem to chair this evening's meeting.
I would like to make a motion to make Trustee Stubbs Mayor Pro Tem for this meeting.
Second.
Motion by Trustee Henyard, second by Trustee Muhammad, to appoint Trustee Stubbs as Mayor Pro Tem for this evening's meeting. Is there any discussion? There being no discussion, Trustee Muhammad.
Aye.
Trustee Stubbs.
Aye.
Trustee House. Absent. Trustee Denton.
Aye.
Trustee Pearson.
Aye.
And Trustee Henyard.
Aye.
Trustee Stubbs, if you would take the mayor's chair.
Good evening, everyone. I would like to call this meeting to order. Can everyone stand for the Pledge of Allegiance?
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Can you remain standing for the prayer? Trustee Pearson, can you please lead us in prayer?
Everybody bow your head, please. Heavenly Father, we thank you for bringing us to this meeting, giving us the safe passage, and we hope that you give us the same as we depart this place. Come into our hearts tonight, Heavenly Father, and let us have a peaceful meeting tonight. Let us do the will that you want us to do and not what we want to do, but make whatever we do right for the people of this community. I thank you, Heavenly Father, from the bottom of my heart for having your only Son die on a cross and shed his blood for me and for those here on earth. And I pray that everybody in this room really hear these words and let this come into their heart. It's with your precious Son, Jesus' name, we all say amen. Amen.
Thank you, Trustee Pearson. I just want to say, can we give a moment of silence for the 26 people that got shot and the 20 that's in the hospital and the 10 that's in critical condition in Texas. Thank you. Thank you. Do we have any general announcements? Anyone? Madam Clerk?
If no one else has any general announcements, Mayor Pro Tem, I'll proceed to the village clerk report.
Thank you.
There are no minutes to be approved this evening, but I have resumed catching up with the minutes, so do expect at the next regular board meeting to approve it more than one set, no more than is reasonable for any one agenda. And hopefully we'll be catching up by the end of the year. Under communications, I have not received any, but I would like to call everyone's attention to the fact that the Village Hall will be closed this Friday. That's the November 10th, in observance of Veterans Day. And we will, of course, reopen on Monday. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Thank you. Can you note that Trustee House is in the house?
Thank you.
Thank you. Engineers report.
Thank you this evening, Mayor Pro Tem, Madam Clerk, residents from the Village of Dolton, and all of the trustees. Just a couple of items this evening on my engineers report that I failed to send this evening. One item we did have a meeting with Cook County. We reviewed the 2016 CDBG roadway project that we were successfully to complete this year. The monitoring visit and the site visit was approved by Cook County, Tim Kleiss. The next item that I have on my engineer's report, there is another Cook County grant that is due December 1st, and that is another grant for the APP, which is a grant that will help the village subside the cost for the demolition, also for board up, and also for grass cutting. The village was successful last year in receiving a grant of $75,000. The administration and myself is now in the process of submitting the documentation for reimbursement. It is a reimbursement grant, so basically what the village does, there are several documents that the village has to present to the county for reimbursement. Those documents would be the invoices, the locations, the PIN numbers, and invoices for grass cutting, and also for any demolition, and also for any board ups that took place a year or so prior to 2016 and 2016 for reimbursement of $75,000. So we are in the process of providing all that documentation for the quarterly reports, for that to be submitted to Cook County for reimbursement. The new grant is due December 1st. Robinson Engineering, in conjunction with the Village of Dolton, we had submitted that grant in 2016. We were awarded that grant, and if the village wants us to submit for the grant in 2017, we are more than capable of submitting that grant to try to receive the maximum amount of grant reimbursement funding for that grant. So it's at the bequest of the board if you want us to submit the grant for that process. That's all I have this evening, and I will entertain any questions that you would have.
Thank you, Mr. Smith. I would like to ask the other trustees what they would like for you to submit that grant. So I'm in favor of it. You submitting?
I agree.
Yes.
Yes.
I agree.
I agree.
Thank you very much.
Thank you so much for your report.
We will start the process of the grant submittal.
Thank you.
Thank you. And also, happy Veterans Day to all of the veterans who served their country. I'm a veteran, so thank you.
Same to you. Thank you. Now we will have the committee reports. Trustee Muhammad, Human Services.
Thank you, Mayor Pro Tem, for the matters relating to youth, veterans, workforce development, and emergency assistance. If you would permit me, Mayor Pro Tem, I would like to include in that report the department operations, the water department's progress, if you would permit me to read that into the record.
Please, thank you.
Okay, for the Water Departmental Payment Center, during the month of October 2017, the Village of Dolton Payment Center collected on the following: water bills, $835,228.15. Other collections, fees, fines, and permits, etc., were $302,988.49. The total collections out of the payment center were $1,138,216.64. The total amount of water bills that are greater than 120 days past due is $983,849.13. Now, what I want to do each time I give these reports from the payment center is to give a public service announcements for those of you who received the yellow card in the mail. You do not have to mail those in. You don't even have to walk those in. You can call that number in, so that way you will get an accurate reading for your next bill. So you can call that number in once you take the reading off of your meter. And that's all for my report, Mayor Pro Tem.
Thank you. Trustee Henyard, Planning.
Thank you, Mayor Pro Tem. Good evening, everyone. Thank you guys
Good
for coming
evening.
out. Housing activity report from October 1st to October 31st. We had the following: 21 sale inspections, 29 as-is sale inspections, 35 escrow release inspections, 27 escrow deposits, 28 escrow refunds, 12 quick claims, 4 judicials, 1 trust deed, 95 housing tickets, 1 grass invoice, 33 rental licenses, 38 rental inspections, 16 vacant property permits, 11 tenant water deposits. Total collected was $308, and the total revenue is $57,790. And that's the end of my housing report. Thank you.
Thank you, Trustee. Department of Operations. First, I would like to commend the Police Department for the great job they did on Friday with the accident on Chicago Road in Sibley. Thank you, Chief.
Thank you.
Public Works Productivity Report for October. This is prepared by Superintendent Matt Stacy. Public Works has cut and cleaned 6 vacant homes, lots, islands, and parkways. Public Works has installed and repaired 2 street signs. Public Works has cut down 8 dead trees and trimmed 41 trees. Public Works has checked and repaired 37 street lights. Public Works has prepared and cleaned 22 sewers and repaired 29 B boxes. Public Works has repaired over 22 potholes and cleaned up debris along the village. Public Works has worked on shutoffs for delinquent properties. We have successfully shut off 108 properties. We found 55 properties that are dig jobs. Out of the 55, we have completed 29 so far. 21 properties have made payment arrangements with the Water Department. That's great. Sewer sweepers have been out following the garbage routes. Public Work mechanics have serviced 2 fire trucks, 2 fire department vehicles, 2 police department vehicles, 4 public work vehicles, and 3 housing department vehicles, along with miscellaneous jobs that have come into the shop. This is just a reminder. Please put your garbage out the night before your garbage pickup day, along with any debris you may have had. Also, Homewood Garbage Disposal is picking up yard waste bags, paper, not plastic, and tree branches. Please make sure they are cut in 4-foot sections and tied in bundles together. Call Public Works for any further information at 708-201-3280 or 3281. Again, that number is 708-201-3280 or 3281. I have a list of grass that Public Works have cut is a little lengthy. I'm not going to read it, but if anybody care to see it after the meeting, I'm up here, I'm available. Thank you, and that's the end of my report. Now, I would like to ask Trustee Pearson to give us police and fire.
Good evening, everyone. From Fire Chief Dyer, there was 166 fire codes, 1 and 2. Motor vehicle accidents was 239. Emergency medical services was 2,455. Hazardous conditions, 98. Fire service calls and false alarms, 226. Fire alarm, smoke detectors, activations, 235. And incident reports in progress to be coded are 339, for a total of 3,758 total incidents. And the fire department is working with the ambulance, giving CPR classes for Village of Dolton employees this month, and I think all this month. They had about 4 dates, so a lot of people are taking advantage of that to get some of that, get certified in CPR training. From Chief Collins, displaying of vehicle stickers. Officers are still issuing tickets daily for not displaying a current vehicle's village sticker. Even though it is months past the deadline, you can still purchase a village sticker. Once purchased, place the sticker in the lower corner of the windshield on the passenger side. Second annual beard challenge. Dolton police officers are growing beards for charity. Chief Collins will probably grow one too. The participating officers will donate money until the end of the year. At that time, funds raised will be donated to a charity. The end of the challenge is January 1st. If you would like to sponsor an officer, please contact Deputy Chief Mobley at 708-201-3200. And here's the activity report. Traffic, there was 256 violations. Parking, 370. Criminal arrest, 131. Warrants, 15. Aggravated assault, 1. Forcible rape, 4. Murder, 2. Robbery, 7. Burglary, 20. Motor vehicle theft, 19. Theft, 39. And arson, 0. And Mayor, that's all I have. Although I would like to sponsor, if the chief will grow a beard, I'll sponsor him.
Thank you for your report. Finance, Trustee Mohammed.
Thank you, Mayor Pro Tem. This is a finance report for November 6th. Ordinance number 17-036 for the May 1st, 2017 for the April 30th, 2018 tax levy was approved at the special board meeting held on Thursday, October 19th. At that special meeting was a thorough presentation by our bond counsel, Attorney Vince Kanker of Lewis Kanker Limited, attorneys at law. As of November 1st, the village has received $7,095,640.28 of the $8,574,229.01 tax bills extended. This represents a collection rate of 83%. A collection rate of 85% will generate an additional $192,454.38 between now and January 31st of 2018. The village is still having its books audited by Lauterbach and Amon for the fiscal year ending 2017. The open items list is narrowing down as the finance department strives to get the information requested to the auditors as the requests come in. Once the items are sent to the auditors, we often encounter subsequent questions which can delay the target deadlines. As such, an extension has been filed with the Illinois Comptroller's Office for 60 days. And that's my finance report, Mayor Pro Tem.
Thank you so much for your report. Special Events, Trustee Henyard.
Thank you. I got two things to announce tonight. For you guys that's having problems with squatters, that's a big issue in our community. Please reach out to myself. Y'all thought I was gonna get my cell number, but it's 708-297-6859. Again, the number is 708-297-6859. We have a lot of squatters in the community who just going into random houses that's vacant. They don't belong there, so please reach out so we can do something about it. But if you guys don't let us know, we won't know that they're in an abandoned property that's probably bank-owned or foreclosed or somebody just walked away from. So please reach out. Next is Trustee Stubbs, the thing that you and I are working on for December for the kids.
Absolutely. Thank you for all of you trustees' assistance in this special project. Friday, December the 1st, 2017. At the Dorchester Senior Building, 1515 East 154th Street, from 3 p.m., that's on a Friday, to 6 p.m. The trustees of the Village of Dolton presents a Winter Wonderland Christmas party for the children in elementary schools, in all the elementary schools, and that's from kindergarten to 8th grade. We'll have food, fun, gifts. Come out and join us. To make your reservations, call 708-888-0344. Again, that number is 708-888-0344. And we're also looking for volunteers. Miss Creighton, Mr. Creighton, you know you guys love the children, you know, and I had you right here when we thought about this, and that's the end of my report. Look forward to seeing you on that particular day.
Excuse me, Mayor Pro Tem, I had something I just want to put on record.
Sure.
I would like to know, what is the time frame for putting things on the agenda, Clerk?
Yes.
As communicated to the trustees numerous times, the agenda for department heads is the Monday before. The deadline is the Monday before the Monday meeting, so it'll be 1 week before. And for trustees, it's noon on Tuesday before.
Okay, I sent the email out to the entire board. I don't like how things are being done as far as us putting items on the agenda. If the deadline is what you just stated, that did not happen. You guys added something extra to the agenda on Friday.
Yes, ma'am, as explained in my email. But to elaborate further, there were two items added to the agenda. One was the fire engine item, which is an item that was tabled by the trustees when they last met. The fire chief explained to me that he was under the impression, understandably so, that the item was tabled to the next meeting, therefore he did not submit a renewed request. More to the point, the other item, the tax anticipation warrant, was submitted by Attorney Kankar. He is the attorney that represents the village on tax and bond-related matters, and is explained to me by Ms. Redmond that should we not put it on the agenda for this evening, we would have no choice but to have a special meeting either tomorrow or Wednesday.
Okay, thank you for the explanation, but when we place rules, let's stick to the rules. Thank you. And that's for
Ma'am?
the record. Everything I stated is for the record.
Yes, trustee, and I would ask that that would be reciprocal.
Thank you.
Okay. There are no more reports. Let's go to corporate bills.
Thank you, Mayor Pro Tem. I'd like to make a motion to pay corporate payments register number 106 of $772,617.49 with a gross payroll of $348,121.95. Melanie Fitness Center at $4,111.88 with a gross payroll of $2,538.38 with a total corporate payments of $1,127,389.70. Can
I make a motion that we pay the.
I made the motion. I need a second.
I second.
It have been motion and second. Any questions?
Yes. On page 6, there is a invoice for Eric Stallworth Jr. for $2,000. I don't see Ms. Redmond, but I'd like to know if that's for 1 month or 2 months. I don't know if Janice could answer that. No. So I make a motion that we remove that until we get clarity, which once we get clarity, if it's for 2 months, I'm okay with paying it with the majority over the phone. And if it's for less than 2 months, then it is out of order because it shouldn't be over $1,000.
Second.
It's been motion and second. Madam Clerk, can you take the roll? Any further discussion?
Yes, I think we have to do two separate votes. We have to do a vote on the motion of the paying the corporate bills and the second to delete that particular line item. Is that
Is there any
correct, Attorney?
objection to holding off on that one bill till we get more information?
No objection here?
Just, subject to, or based on Trustee Pearson's motion, I think the board can vote. The bills as presented minus the, what's the man's name, Shorter? Stallworth item.
Is that fine with you guys?
Yes.
I know you have a
Yes.
motion. Okay. So you would like to pay everything but Stallworth?
Yes.
Okay, can I get a motion to pay everything but that?
We need a new motion?
No?
There being no objection, the motion would continue with the one item eliminated, excuse me. Trustee Muhammad?
Aye.
Trustee Stubbs?
Aye.
Trustee House?
Aye.
Trustee Denton?
Aye.
Trustee Pearson?
Aye.
Trustee Henry?
Aye.
Okay, we go right along to old business. The mayor put this on the agenda, ordinance number 17-043. Maybe you guys want to table it because he's not here to explain what he wants done.
I make a motion to table ordinance number 17-042.
Second.
Point of clarification in case there's some confusion over the numbers on the ordinance, because the agenda was amended with the new items being submitted, it was corrected, so it is 17-042.
Okay.
Or two.
Yes, item A under old business. Motion to table by Trustee Muhammad, second by Trustee House.
Can you call the roll?
Trustee Muhammad?
Aye.
Trustee Stubbs?
Aye.
Trustee House?
Aye.
Trustee Dunn?
Aye.
Trustee Pearson?
Aye.
Trustee Henry?
Aye.
B, sale of illegal cigarettes. This was put on by Trustee Muhammad and Trustee Pearson. Can you either one of you all want to elaborate on it?
Yes. Trustee Pearson and I have gotten calls from residents and also from business persons with the sale of what we call loosies. Loosies is referred to as loose cigarettes, and also cigarettes that are bought from businesses outside of Cook County and the state of Illinois. That's illegal. All the businesses aren't doing it, and this is a notice to the public and to those businesses that we are cracking down on this. The sale of loose cigarettes is illegal. The sale of cigarettes outside of the county of Cook and outside of the state of Illinois is illegal. What does that mean? That means that these business owners are purchasing cigarettes and not being responsible for the taxes that's due to not only the village but the county and the state. And we're putting those businesses on notice that they will be thoroughly watched, and we do have ordinances in place. And I believe, if I recall, and Trustee Pearson, you can help me, I think after the second or third offense that there is revocation or suspension of their license. But we're looking to shut them down for a long period of time so that we can make a statement, because we continue to get on social media, it's saying that these trustees are not doing anything to stop or quell the illegal selling of cigarettes. But as you all know, investigations take time. but we want to put businesses on notice that we are coming after you, and it is illegal what you're doing. Trustee Pearson?
Well, you touched on most of it. We are going to crack down, and what it does is the funds from the tax money is the money that's used to repair your streets and cut your trees and repair your sidewalks. So we are actively trying to pursue to stop this. They know who they are. Some of them have been spoken to, some of them have been fined before, but we will crack down on it. And as Trustee Muhammad said, it does take time to put things in place, but we will be trying to stop it. We are aware of what's going on. That's all I have.
Is that it? Thank you, gentlemen. Item C, status of consultant agreement with Stan Urban, and that was also by Mayor Riley Rogers. At the last board meeting in October, the trustees voted that last month was Mr. Urban's last month as a consultant with us. So I'm not sure what Mayor Riley wanted to do, so maybe you guys want to table it, or?
Yeah, I'll motion that we table that item.
And Mayor, I think the mayor was under the impression that the board had to vote to terminate the agreement, but there's no vote required because the agreement ended at the end of October, so
Absolutely.
there's really no action, it's over.
Okay, thank you so much for that clarification. Item D, authorization of repair Public Works truck number 1 by Superintendent Stacy. We received your estimates.
Yes, I got the other estimates as requested, and as in the email that I sent you guys with the estimates.
I'm sorry, I can barely hear you.
Okay, I've gotten the other estimates as requested by the board. In my email to you guys, I have given you an outline of the estimates, and my recommendation would be to use Sutton Ford just because of the warranty that they're giving us. The other Fairfield or Freeway Ford wasn't giving us warranty, and the other one, Napleton River Oaks, we would have to send it out to get the boom removed on the truck and then take it back to them, which would cost us more money. So I got what the board requested, and I'll leave it up to you guys.
Is there any discussion?
Yes. Mr. Stacy, at the last meeting when you submitted this invoice and we asked you to get 3, we appreciate that, but I believe there was a concern by Trustee Henyard concerning record keeping of the maintenance of vehicles, and we were invited to come and look at those records by yourself or the mayor. I'm not sure. I do remember the mayor saying we can go and look at the records because I believe Trustee Henyard wanted those records emailed, but we were told those files would be too large. So her and I visited the yard, and we found there were no records kept of any of the vehicles except invoices that we found in notebooks, but there was no record or maintenance records on any of the vehicles. For example, the 2 that were being worked on by the diesel mechanics, the vehicles that are out of commission, the vehicle in question right now to pay this invoice for, I think, approximately, what, $18,000? $16,000. My concern and Trustee Henyard's concern was that we did not see any detailed maintenance records of any of the vehicles. We asked around, we talked to your supervisor, and I think he informed us that he would send us some records, and this was about, what, a month ago, Trustee Henyard?
Yes, that's correct.
So could you respond to that?
Okay, I will get you the records. I know that the records were probably packed away from last year, and they have everything that they have is in their books in the office. What kind of records are you looking for? They keep track of everything that they do on the trucks and the notebooks and the receipts, because that shows what was purchased for the truck and all that. I'm not sure what you're looking for.
Okay, I'll take this, Trustee Henyard. What we asked for, what she asked for at the last meeting was some type of book that shows a maintenance log on the individual vehicles.
Okay,
We were
they
politely
have those-
greeted. We were politely greeted and taken into the office where these, quote, records are supposed to be. But when we looked through the large binders, which had maybe, 3 to 10 sheets, there was nothing that detailed any vehicle maintenance records on any of those vehicles that's in that yard and being used by the Village of Dolton. Not one.
That's correct.
Okay, I will go back tomorrow and I will get them all and I will get them for you.
See, this is an issue because the last time you said the records were there. You told this board at the last meeting the records were there to observe. We went there and there were no records. Your
Okay, they didn't
supervisor,
show you the records when you guys got there.
your
They
supervisor,
called and told me that you were there. I was en route back, and you guys were gone by the time I got back there. The records were probably, I had them clean out the file cabinets. They put all the records from the previous repairs upstairs. Now they have all binders with every truck labeled. Everything that we've been doing now for the past 3-4 months are in those books. These vehicles, our trucks, the diesels, don't get worked on every other day. If there's nothing wrong with them, they don't get worked on. Oil changes, those can go, it depends on when the trucks run. If the trucks only ran 30 miles or 100 miles in 3 months, you're not going to do an oil change on it. The records are there. They're upstairs. I will go and get them all for you. I will bring them to you. However you want them, I will get them for you.
well, again, we were there. We talked to John, who was your supervisor, who also informed us that he would make sure that we had those records.
Okay, I will check with him
And
tomorrow.
we have yet to
get
see
back
it.
to you.
And you're saying you're going to bring them now, but you were informed that we were there. The mayor know that we were there. This board knows that we were there. And to this date, we have no record showing of the maintenance on any of those vehicles. Not one.
I'll take care of that for you tomorrow.
Does that satisfy you, Trustee Henyard?
It does not, because he should have had the records when we asked for them. Here it is, 2 meetings in, and we still don't have records. So I don't believe he had records. Me and you both went there. The binders was empty, so I don't know where the records are. I don't think they keep a maintenance log of the trucks. So that's my issue. But I guess we can talk about it in closed session.
Thank you. Any more questions?
That's for the record, Mary Kay.
I make a motion to authorize the payment for truck number 1 for Superintendent Stacy.
Second.
Can we get a vote? Any discussion? Any more discussion?
I just want to add that I definitely would like to see those maintenance records myself, so whenever they're presented, I'd like to take a look at them. I would like to offer any help and assistance in setting up these maintenance records if there is no program. I have an excellent program at my factory where I work, and we document anything that we do to a truck, whether it's add a bolt, change oil, send it out for repair. Every repair is documented, and we can easily go back and see the history of a vehicle. So if there's some help needed to do that, I'd like to offer that. If not, I'd like to see those records, because in these corporate bills that we pay today, there was a lot of service calls, sending stuff out to have work done on vehicles of the village that I think we should do in-house. I know that we don't have the mechanics to do this, but Matt Stacy Superintendent Stacy, I should say, should present what's needed to eliminate some of these outside bills, and whether that's add 1 mechanic or 2 mechanics. I know that we have a hiring freeze on, but we're spending the money anyway by sending the vehicles out for various repairs. And simple things we definitely shouldn't be sending them out for. But again, I'd like to make sure that you know that I offer any assistance that I can. And that's all I have.
And I got one statement. This for all department heads. When anybody on this board asks you for anything, I need you guys to deliver it. We shouldn't have to wait 2 weeks into another board meeting to ask you guys for something we asked 2 weeks ago. That is my issue. My trust is gone as it relates to Superintendent Matt Stacy. Anything he tells us is always an issue or a problem. And that's a problem for me because you're the department head. So when you tell us something, we vote on exactly what you guys say because you're the department head. So I need you guys to get that in order before you come across this board, any department head. End of my statement.
I would like to make a suggestion. Also, Mr. Stacy, if you need my help, I'm willing to help also. What we did back in the day, every vehicle that was taken out, they had a log inside the vehicle where the person, before they pulled off, they checked to make sure their lights were working, etc., etc. And if you need some help, feel free to call on me, and I'm willing to help also. Thank you so much. There was a first and second motion. Any more discussions?
Trustee Muhammad?
Aye.
Trustee Stubbs?
Aye.
Trustee House?
Aye.
Trustee Denton?
Aye.
Trustee Pearson?
Aye.
Trustee Henry?
Aye.
Six ayes, ayes pass. F, grant writer. Oh, did I miss E? Oh, I'm so sorry. E, village administrator search. Trustee Pearson.
I just wanted to get a consensus from the board. I think we're at a point where we need a village administrator. I know we're not doing any hiring, but it's a long process to find a village administrator, and the way that we're doing things tells me that we need a village administrator. Everybody's chipping in, trying to get it done, but somebody's got to be on top of every facet of this village. And I think that we should start a search. I know it's a mayor's appointment. It's not a trustee appointment, so that's just my recommendation to the board, to the mayor, is that we start a search. There are different organizations that do searches, so I think we should take a look at doing it, and I would like a consensus from the board what they think about it.
Can I be recognized, Mayor Pro Tem?
Yes.
Okay, yes, some of those, and I would hope that our human resources person is here. We do have this in the record for the clerk, if she would forward this information to our human resources director. And some of those agencies that we would like to look into this important matter is the Illinois Municipal League, which is called the IML, the Illinois City Managers Association, which is ILCMA, and also the International City Managers Association, which is ICMA. So if we get a consensus by this board tonight to move forward, I recommend that we use these organizations to remove the politics from the picking of this. Of course, the mayor will have the final say-so with the advice and consent of the board, but for the sake of the record, I would hope that we would post in these that I just mentioned for the record. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else? So I'm in agreement to start the search to look for an administrator also. And basically the same reasons that Trustee Muhammad stated. Anybody else want to chime in?
Oh, I agree.
I agree.
I agree.
So it's been agreed upon. We know that we don't have the finance at the present time to pay a village administrator, but by the time we finish this search, I hope to have, I know we're gonna have the finance to pay for one.
Yes.
Pardon me?
Are you going to list a salary range
Yes, yes,
before they can go out and who's to have a salary range?
yes. The clerk asked about salary range before we go out. Angela, I'm sure that you are very capable of taking care of that. And by the way, you look lovely tonight. Thank you.
Can I make a comment on the salary range? Because there is also a recommendation for that, Madam Mayor Pro Tem.
Yes.
Okay, I know that based upon some research that I've done here and that's been given to me, that the salary range is between $110,000 and $115,000. But of course, as we all know, that's negotiable. It also indicates there should be a car allowance and 4 weeks vacation with an attractive health insurance package. And of course, all of that is negotiable. But our human resources person may have even more resources than that was at my fingertips.
Do we have to agree on a salary range at this moment?
I don't think so. That was what I just mentioned was a recommendation. I think that's something that we can discuss in closed session.
Okay. Because you know me, I'm going to start at 78.
Anyone else? Trustee Muhammad, were you looking for a vote tonight on this?
I think it was presented by Trustee Pearson. I think he
Yes.
wanted a consensus vote.
I just
and
wanted
I think
a consensus from the board if everybody had agreed, and it seems like we got enough to move forward. I don't know.
Well, thank you very kindly. New business.
no, we're still on old business. We have about 3 more items, Mayor Pro Tem.
I'm trying to rush the meeting. Okay. I'm sorry. F, grant writer, Trustee Muhammad.
Thank you, Mayor Pro Tem. If we could have Ms. Green come to the podium, and as she's making her way, just to make everybody aware, the trustees here have a fiduciary responsibility of bringing monies into the into this village, and we have 2 great presentations that will take place tonight with our person from Spear Financial and a young lady here, Ms. Green. Ms. Green will give you an outline of what she does, but we are in need of grants, and this is her expertise. She's approached this board 4 years ago. We're going to try it again. She's going to give these brand new members, at least 4, what she does and her record of getting awards for municipalities. And Ms. Green, the floor is yours.
Okay, thank you, trustee. Good evening, Village of Dolton, trustees and pro tem mayor.
Hi.
My name is Twin Green, and I am the president and CEO of the Lincoln Option Center and also the president of TDG and Associates. In 2013, I was asked by the village to present, at their request, through the former village administrator, Clem Balanoff, to present on grant writing. And I did so. And so I've been asked to come again today and share some of my expertise and try to bring some resources, some needed revenue to the village of Dolton. And I have in a packet that I have already presented to the trustees my experience in securing grant funds and contracts, which total about $4.266 million over the course of 22 years. And they range from local government, city and county grants, Cook County Department of Corrections, City of Department of Health, DuPage County Adult Probation, Cook County Adult Probation, CDBG, City of Markham, which is where I do most of my municipal grant writing from. You're looking at me like you don't know me. You should. City. You don't, yeah. I work with John and worked with Mayor Webb for years. CDBG, nonprofit applications, Cook County ESG funds, DCEO, Prairie State, $180,000 for them, and I did a lot of work in securing CDBG funds for the city of Markham with John Thompson and securing $250,000 on both those grants that I wrote and secured. State government, Illinois Department of Human Services, Division of Alcohol and Substance Abuse, Division of Mental Health, fee-for-services. These are mostly nonprofit grant funds that have been secured. The Illinois Department of Corrections, the Illinois Department of Education, U.S. Department of Education, $200,000, a 3-year reoccurring contract. U.S. Department of Justice, $200,000 3-year contract. U.S. Congressional earmark through Congressman Jesse Jackson Jr., $200,000. U.S. Department of Labor, $500,000. Foundation funds, Cargill Foundation, $25,000, which was the very first foundation grant that I wrote in 1995 for my organization, the Lincoln Option Center. Chicago Community Trust, AIDS Foundation, Boeing Foundation, Owens Foundation, and other in-kind contributions of Walmart, United Way, Dominick's, Lansing Rotary Club, AT&T, Walgreens, Sam's Club, Best Buy, and American Express. So I have a very broad range of venues that I reach out to and write grants for and have secured those successfully. There is a great need for municipal funding, and with the experience that I have, I know that I can bring my expertise to this village in securing those funds. I am an excellent grant writer, and I've been grant writing since 1995 very successfully. Is there any questions from this board to me?
Yes, Ms. Green. I'm looking at your proposal. I don't know if you have it in front of you, but it shows the scope of services. I just want to make sure that the previous proposed contract would still be the same, except we would just update it, I'm assuming, with dates.
Yes,
but
it would.
the scope of services remains the same as far as essential files, conduct, grant funding, research, grant tracking database, grant proposal development, all of that, and those bullet points in its subdivision still
Yes.
is the same. The qualifications, of
changed.
course, that's changed. You've done more in the last, 4 years.
Mm-hmm.
The confidentiality section stays the same. The guarantee stays the same. The information supplied by us, the client, and the assurance is the same. So everything remains the same in the previous contract that was submitted. So we would just change the dating. Is that correct?
That's all that needs to be done.
So what we're looking for board tonight, again, is a consensus vote to accept the services of Ms. Green. The one thing we haven't mentioned is how much you're paid for this. And I believe it's under compensation section 3. And it's $60,000 annual billing with a cap contract. That still remains the same.
Yes, it does.
Okay. I have no further questions. We're looking for a consensus vote from the board. If anyone has any questions for Ms. Green.
I do have some questions, yes. I just would like to know, out of all these grants that's listed, how many of them have been in the last 5 years?
DCO with Prairie State College, 200 of the 250 for the city of Markham. Cook County ESG Fund, application 20. The
What was that? I'm
CDBG,
sorry, I didn't hear that.
The Cook County ESG Fund,
Okay,
20. Nonprofit application, 35. The 500,000 from IDHS, the combined IVPA. Did I mention Prairie State College?
that was IVPA?
Yes.
Okay,
Did you see, did I mention Prairie State College?
no.
Okay, that one as well. And also the adult probation, Cook County adult probation. And
Okay, that's good enough for me. Thank you.
I have a question for the trustees. Trustee Muhammad in particular. Did we put anything in the budget for a grant writer? And if not, can we amend that once we find the monies to pay someone for doing our grant writing? I don't recall. Do you recall?
No, I don't believe there was any monies put in the 2017-18 budget. Of course, we can put in for the 2018-19 budget, but as grant writers go, in my opinion, a grant writer pays for themselves by the grants that they would secure for the village. Worst case scenario, this is a contract according to her terms in Section 5. Do you mind if I read that publicly?
Please.
This agreement shall constitute the entire agreement between the parties and shall remain in effect for the contract period. That date has to change, but whatever year that we choose to do this, with an extension or amendment by written agreement between both parties. This agreement may be terminated or renegotiated by either party with a 30 days written notice by postal mail to the other party. This contract shall be administratively monitored by the village administrator for the contract period. So the contract will be closely monitored by our village administrator, but if we approve this contract any earlier, it would be, of course, monitored by our interim village administrator, Ms. Johnson, with the help of our financial manager, Ms. Redmond. So to answer your question, no, there is no monies allocated for a grant writer, but we would hope that she would get monies that would justify her existence on a month-to-month basis, and hopefully we can put that in for the 2018-19 budget.
Okay, because we desperately need a grant writer. And when Trustee Muhammad and myself were talking, that's when Twin Green came to my mind. I don't know if you recall me, but I visited your office.
Yes.
And I asked them would they reach out to you and have you to come in and do a presentation. Because it's a lot of money out here, but we need a grant writer in order to write grants so we can receive money from this village. We're missing out on a lot because we don't have a grant writer. Just like Mr. Smith just stated, that we want him to seek out for the grants for the streets and the grass cutting. And that's something that not necessarily grass or streets pavement, but the big dollars that every other town is getting. Whether you know it or not, I was just over in Riverdale last week, I believe, to a ribbon cutting ceremony where Mayor Lawrence Jackson received $7 million to do his infrastructure in his town. Now, I'm sure he had a great grant writer. He also had some county help, and we need some help in bringing revenue to this village. So I'm all for a grant writer, and I believe that a grant writer will pay their own salary in their own way. Thank you. That's what I have. Anybody else would like to comment?
Okay, thank you, Ms. Green.
Thank you.
Anybody else would like to give their consensus on a grant writer? Can we get a motion?
I make a motion that we approve the contract for Twin Green for a grant writer for the village of Dolton.
Can we get a second?
I have a question about. Okay.
Second.
Was the initial proposal of looking at this prior to my coming on board? Because I don't recall.
Yes.
It-
It's
okay.
2013.
It was in 2013.
Okay, is it possible that I could look at the package this year?
Yes, I've sent it. It's in your email.
Okay, thank you.
So, any further discussion?
Ask for it to be tabled. On the motion to approve the contract as submitted with Twin Green, motion by trustee Mohammed, second by trustee Pearson. Roll call, trustee Mohammed.
Aye.
Trustee Stubbs.
Aye.
Trustee House.
Abstain.
Trustee Denton.
Aye.
Trustee Pearson.
Aye.
Trustee Henyard.
Aye.
Motion carries.
Now we have union negotiations update, trustee Muhammad.
Thank you, Mayor Pro Tem. As we know, negotiations is going on with the, I believe, the lieutenants and sergeants, and also with AFSCME. Myself and Trustee House sat in on negotiations with AFSCME, I believe, last month, but I was not able to make the second meeting, and I will turn it over to Trustee House to give the update and the status of where we are with AFSCME. We would have to wait for the mayor to come in on maybe the next board meeting. He can give us an update on the fire and police contract. Trustee House.
For the contract with AFSCME, we have, our last meeting was last week. Matt, was that Thursday? Yes. It was last week, Thursday. The AFSCME union presented their counter proposal. We discussed a couple of different talking points. I believe we're down to one or two items that are in debate. All other items are pretty much agreed to. Those items were to be given to the board in executive session so that we can talk through another proposal to AFSCME, which we will be giving to them this week by Thursday. And then we will continue and hopefully have this wrapped up shortly.
And that's the report for the update on the union contracts.
Thank you. Any further questions trustees might want to ask? Okay, now we have H, purchasing of new fire engine. This was put on by trustee Pearson.
We're going to table that. I make a motion to table that at this time.
Second.
It's been first and second.
Trustee Mohammed.
Aye.
Trustee Stubbs.
Aye.
Trustee House.
Aye.
Trustee Denton.
Aye.
Trustee Pearson.
Aye.
Trustee Henyard.
Aye.
6 ayes.
Motion carries.
Motion carries. Now we can go to new business. A, resolution number 17-022 relating to participation by elected official in the Illinois Municipal Retirement Fund. Ms. Johnson.
This is the special memo that was passed by the IMRF Board of Trustees back in February. It's the requiring of certification of IMRF eligibility for all elected positions.
I make a motion to approve resolution number 17R-022.
Second.
It's been first and second. Can we get a roll call? Madam Clerk?
If there is no further discussion, Trustee Mohammed.
Aye.
Trustee Stubbs.
Aye.
Trustee House.
Aye.
Trustee Denton.
Aye.
Trustee Pearson.
Aye.
And Trustee Henyard.
Aye.
6 ayes. Motion carries. B, ordinance number 17-042, amending section 6547 of the Dolton Village Code to allow for the posting of additional handicap signs. Mr. Thigpen, is he in?
I don't believe he's here this evening, but you do have his synopsis and supporting documents in your packet.
I make a motion to approve ordinance number 17-043.
Second.
It's been motion and second. Can we get a roll call? Is there any discussion?
Yeah, I'd just like to know, are these the, does anybody know if this is going to be with the permit numbers on them, or are these still using up some of the older?
They should fall under the permit number requirement.
Okay.
Any further questions?
Mr. Stacy, do you know if we have those yet?
Do we have the signs?
Yeah, we voted to change the signs to a permit, where they're going to have a permit number on them, so that whoever gets the sign.
I know we have signs, but Brian's gonna have to fill me in with the numbers that are gonna be put on there. I don't know how he wants the numbers, or if there's a certain numbering system he's got to go on it.
Okay.
But we can get the numbers put on it. That's
That's
not a
good.
problem.
I'd just like to make sure that's done before we put up any new ones. Thank you.
It's been first and second. Any further discussions? Madam Clerk?
Aye.
Trustee Muhammad.
Aye.
Trustee Stubbs.
Aye.
Trustee House.
Aye.
Trustee Denton.
Aye.
Trustee Pearson.
Aye.
Trustee Henry.
Aye.
6.
6 carries. Next item on the agenda is item C, presentation by Spears Financial.
No, we got a TAW first.
Man,
That's C, yes.
I'm sorry, C. Okay, mine is different. Ordinance number C. Ordinance number 17-044, approving 1.1 million tax anticipation warrant, TAW, and that is by Ms. Redmond. I don't see her here.
I make a motion to pass ordinance number 17-044.
Second.
It's been motion and second. Any discussions?
Attorney, can you just give us an overview of that so everybody understands what we are voting for on that 1.1 tax anticipation?
Yes, this is a part of what was explained at the special meeting, part of the entire financing package. What this does is allow the village to borrow money immediately in anticipation of getting our first installment property taxes. Essentially, this is, in effect, it's a bridge loan to get us over the hump until the large infusion of property taxes come in March.
Okay.
Any more questions?
Trustee Muhammad.
Aye.
Trustee Stubbs.
Aye.
Trustee House.
Aye.
Trustee Denton.
Aye.
Trustee Pearson.
Aye.
Trustee Henry.
Abstain.
5.
5 ayes. 1 abstain. Item number D, presentation Spear Financial Incorp. Trustee Muhammad.
Thank you. If we could have Ms. McKenzie to the rostrum, and what we're about to get is a presentation. Ms. McKenzie, when I was on a previous Finance Committee board, she came with another 3 persons or 3 organizations or companies to give their services as a municipal advisory or a more like a consultant, and she can of course articulate it much better than I'm doing up here, and she'll go through what she's done and what she can offer to bring our credit rating up, our bond rating up, and get us in the black and have residual monies in our account and in the bank. Ms. McKenzie, floor is yours.
Thank you for having me. Good evening, everyone. My name is Rafaelita McKenzie. I work at Spear Financial. It's a financial consultant firm. I've been working there now for over 20 years, and I'm currently Senior Vice President there. There are 2 companies. We have one in Chicago and the other is in Iowa. We are a financial consultant firm, and what that means is we assist local governments in the issuance of bonds, whether it be to issue new debt or to refund existing bonds. We work with local governments such as school districts, park districts, municipalities such as yourself, counties. And what I have done tonight is I have provided everyone with a packet for a quick review of the work that SPARE does and how we can help you or assist you in the issuance of debt or the improvement of your bond rating. As Trustee Mohammed mentioned, I came out here to meet with the previous board with another individual, Anthony Michelli. He's at another meeting tonight, so I'm here to do the presentation on my own. And so if you move to page 3, just to give you a quick overview of who we are. Spear Financial is a municipal advisor. As I mentioned, we work with communities such as Schaumburg, Elk Grove, Oak Park, and on this list, I have listed quite a few of the surrounding communities that we work with here in this area, such as Olympia Fields, South Holland, Matheson School District 162, the Village of Matheson, Dolton Park, Flossmoor. We're all over. And so it talks about the fact that we've issued over 200 transactions a year for the last 5 years, and that's pretty much an average of what we have done and the work that we provide to local governments such as yourself. Moving to the next page, it basically talks about our ranking, and you can see where we are compared to our other competitors or other people or finance group who issue bonds themselves.
Okay, Ms. McKenzie, you're being very humble. You are ranked number 1.
I am. Yes,
and
we
for
are.
how many last years? You've held that for how many years?
We've held that, I don't think I've ever looked at, but as far as I know, we've held that number 1 spot for a very long time.
Yes, ma'am.
We're not a very big firm, and maybe about 18 people in the Chicago office and 4 people in the Iowa office, but I think that the work that we do speaks for itself. Our involvement in communities like yourselves, whether it be communities here on the south side or communities in, as I mentioned, in the northern suburban area, but we are all over Illinois. We do have clients as well in Michigan. We're very active in working with local governments. On page 5 of the presentation, it gives pretty much a summary of what we do in terms of management of the bond issuance process. And so, for example, I saw on your report you just did a TAW, whether it be a tax anticipation warrant or a tax anticipation note. We assist local governments with issuing those. My job and the way we work with our clients is we work with you from beginning through to the end. And so if the village is interested in issuing debt or refunding your existing debt or perhaps reviewing your disclosure requirements, making sure you're in compliance, whether it be with your financial statements or your audits, we work with you throughout the entire process from the beginning until the end of the document. And so let's take, for example, the issuance of debt. We will assist you in gathering the information, which is an offering document, which is provided to investors in the municipal market. And so our job is to not only do some debt planning for you based on whether it be a tax rate planning or whether it be that you are refunding debt because you would like to have some savings, or whether you want to extend debt because there is some financial hardship. And so we're able to model, so to speak, financial plans that are suitable to you. And in doing so, we put together offering documents that you, the village, are responsible for in terms of the information that is provided. We look at the local community, the taxpayers. You talk about your tax collections tonight, your financial statements, the employers within the community. So we look at everything, the census, your socioeconomic information. We look at everything about the village, put that together, and then once this packet is put together, we're then able to determine where you are and what needs to happen in terms of how the bonds get sold. Whether, in this case, it would be on a competitive basis because of a number of reasons. And of course, because we have done some research on the village, so we do know where you stand in terms of your rating, and that's provided in the packet as well. Where you stand in terms of your rating and disclosure requirements and preparation of your financial statements. And so on page 5, again, it's just a summary of some of the things we do. The preparation of the document all the way through to the end, which is the closing of the document to the delivering of funds, or if it's a new money bond issue, or if it's a refunding, the placement of those funds into an escrow account. Page 6 is a review, or rather an analysis and research that we had done about the village at the time when we came out.
Okay.
And so it highlights a number of...
Came here.
Speak directly to the mic.
Page 6 highlights a number of factors, such as your audited financial statements, the status of those audits at this time, continuing disclosure filings, your tax base, which is based on the equalized assessed valuation. Thank you. Your tax base, which is based on the equalized assessed valuation, and I know for some people, if you look at your tax bill, that's pretty much a part of the calculation of the tax rate and the taxes that gets paid within Cook County and within your village. But again, if the village choose to move forward, this page 6 just gives a bit of a summary as to some of the things that we need to look at for the village, and some of our recommendations in terms of getting a tax escrow set up with your local bank or your registrar and paying agent that is currently listed on your existing debt. And so just moving along, page 7 again continues to highlight the village's position in terms of bond rating, where you are, and what you would need to do. And so in this packet, we did put in an example of another municipality that was in a similar position as Dolton, with whom we have worked and with whom we are currently working for, and have helped to issue debt and to get them in a better financial position. We, in addition to the example provided here, we also had another client, which is not very far from here actually, who had issued bonds and got themselves in a position where they couldn't afford the next debt payment on those bonds. And so we were able to work with them to not only get those bonds sold. It did take a lot of work, and they don't have a rating, and they were late on their financials, so pretty much some of the same similarities, but we were able to work with them, and now they are on track and trying to retain or get that rating back. and try to get themselves in a much better financial position. And so this document is just, again, a summary of who we are, what the type of work that we do, and what we can do for you. We are a municipal advisor, and so, sure. Yes, we are a municipal advisor, and so our job is to work directly with local governments. There are no conflicts of interest. So our job is to work with you and to get the best possible financing for you, whether it be for a refunding issue or the issuance of new debt. Thank you.
Thank you.
Any questions?
Any questions?
Yes. Ms. McKenzie, could you inform the board how you are paid for your services as a municipal advisor for the Village of Dolton?
We are paid whenever there is a bond issue. So if there's, and that means a bond issue had to have been priced. So if there's no bond issue, we don't get paid. Because again, the payment typically occurs, or rather the bonds are sized in such a way to pay the municipal advisor, which is us. And so though we get payment only at that one time, our service to you continues throughout the year. You may only issue bond today and you don't issue again for another 5 years. We don't get paid until you issue bonds again, but it doesn't mean that you can't call on us to answer questions for you or to assist you, or in some cases, I'm not sure if you've gone through, when you did have your rating, go through the surveillance period with the rating agencies. We're available to get on the phone with you, to go over the rating analysis with you, to be there with you when the rating agencies reach out to you, and to assist you in answering some of those questions. And another part of our service, which is separate from a regular bond issuance, is our service as municipal advisors who provide disclosure services. And what that means is, as a village, you have certain obligations to disclose your financial statements and any, they're called events, that has occurred during the time that you have issued these debt. What are some of those events? Some of those events could be a downgrade or an upgrade in your rating, or a default on a payment, or there are a list of them. And so our job would be to assist you in not only making those report on the system, it's an EMA system now where you can go and gather any information you need on debt, but we would assist you in preparing the documents that are required on an annual basis. And there's typically a small fee for that, somewhere around $1,500 or so, to prepare that annually. But again, aside from that, we don't get paid unless there's a bond issue.
Okay, and your liaison to us would be, I would assume, the finance department / village administrator. Who is the persons that you would be in contact on a regular basis to make this happen?
The finance director. Okay. You talked about a village administrator to hire, or the manager, anyone who can help us to prepare the documents and give us the information that we need, whether it be the financial statements, your budget, or building permits, any information that we would need to put together in the offering document for investors.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
Any further questions, trustees?
I'd like
you so much.
I'd like to make a motion to approve the services of Spear Financial Services.
Second.
It's been motion first and second. Any more discussions? Trustees?
No.
Trustee Muhammad?
Aye.
Trustee Stubbs?
Aye.
Trustee House?
Abstain.
Trustee Denton?
Aye.
Trustee Pearson?
Aye.
Trustee Henyard?
Aye.
5.
5 ayes, 1 abstain, motion pass. D, Committee of the Whole, format for discussion. Trustee Muhammad.
Thank you, Mayor Pro Tem. I'd like for us to consider reorganizing our board meetings. We've listened to the residents. Many of the complaints are, we listened to you all for 2 years, 2 hours, 3 hours. We get 2 minutes to discuss what was said or ask questions. And I'd like for us to return to the COW meetings or the Committee of the Whole meetings, but I'd like to go over the advantages of doing this. This will allow the residents 2 weeks to weigh in on topics to be voted on. It allows the board members the opportunity to conduct research and gather input from the residents, and it eliminates knee-jerk types of votes. Now, a true Committee of the Whole does not have individual committees. That being said, let me tell you a hybrid version of what we would do. All committees, that means that the committee members would have to be responsible not only to the residents, but the residents to the committees, because we're asking the residents to get involved with this. Committees are required to have at least 1 meeting per month. The formal board meeting remains to be held on the first Monday of the month. The only changes to the format are the following. Audience participation is moved to the beginning of the meeting prior to any vote being taken. This gives the residents one last chance to influence the vote of the trustees. This is at the Committee of the Whole meeting. No new items would be allowed to be introduced at the formal board meeting, which would be the first meeting of the month. The second meeting of the month, of course, would be the Committee of the Whole meeting. The Committee of the Whole will only discuss items that have been vetted at the committee level. Residents' participation is allowed after the trustees have completed their discussion. This, again, is in the Committee of the Whole meeting. Residents' participation is limited to the topics being discussed by the trustees on that particular Committee of the Whole meeting. There must be a majority consensus of the trustees before the topic is moved to the agenda of a formal board meeting. General comments by the residents should be restricted only to the subject at hand in that particular meeting. This format will bring total transparency to the process, as well as eliminating knee-jerk votes. It gives the residents a real voice in the decision-making. So at our next board meeting, I'll make a motion, and I won't do it at this time, to make the change in ordinance number 14-006, and we'll do that at I believe our next board meeting, which is 2 weeks from this date. So I'd like to make a motion, if we can, for the next board meeting, which would be 2 weeks from this date, that we would make the vote on the change in the ordinance that I just mentioned before.
Second.
Motion.
No, not necessary.
The agenda for the next board meeting, which is on the 20th of November.
18.
Is it the 18th? 16th, 6 and 4 is 14 is 20. It's not on the 20th, clerk?
Math is not my strong suit. 2 weeks from tonight.
Yes, ma'am. I believe that's the 20th of November.
Ahead of myself.
So I'm open for discussion on the changing of the format for the board meetings.
Are there any discussions?
One point I would say, because I absolutely think this is the right thing to do for the residents and for the town, that we get more feedback and weigh in prior to making the vote. I think there's one caveat, that items that are time sensitive, if there are contracts that may expire or something like that, that we still allow provisions for time sensitive material.
We can always, if we've got a single-year item, we can always schedule a special in conjunction
Special
with the COW. The special meeting would go first, do your, emergency or singular business, which is usually, 5 minutes, and then you slide into your COW. So when that arises, we'll just dovetail a special onto a COW.
Yes, sir. Also, for further discussion, we will be adding 2 other committees. One of the committees that will be added will be the committee for the Melanie Fitness Center, and the other committee, I believe Trustee Pearson, you want to elaborate on that committee you want to add or enhance in one of the current committees that we discussed? Business development?
Yeah, we need to enhance what type of business is coming to our community. And they just need to go before this board so that we know what's going on with businesses that come here. Right now, we don't have a committee that's active in saying yes or no. You know, right now, if a strip club decided to come here, we wouldn't even know it because we're not doing things the way that it should be done. So I think that we need to get active, make sure we know what's zoned in our community. We don't have a very active zoning board, so we should take a look at that over the next couple weeks and know what's going on in our community.
I agree.
Yes, let me dovetail on that, because one of the other complaints that I get from residents is, why do we have so many payday loan places? And of course, there are villages that don't allow that, and they have to come before a board to be approved to come into the village, and we have to start taking stock of the types of businesses. And we are thankful that we had the grand opening of City Trends. Is that what it was? I don't know if you all have been there, but we should support it, or any new business such as City Trends, which is a family store. But those are the types of businesses that we need to come into the village of Dolton. We have enough liquor stores, we have enough lounges, we have enough video gaming, we have enough kiosks. We need to get some business that we can reap the benefit of sales taxes, where our families can also enjoy those businesses. And I think that committee that you're referring to, Trustee, would be ideal for this community. And along with the Melanie Fitness Center, because we're doing some upgrades on that center, there's some things that we're working on, and right now they do not have a committee, and we've been getting a lot of complaints about the Melanie Fitness Center, so we plan in a few weeks to make some drastic improvements over at the Melanie Fitness Center under that new committee.
I would like to also state, if you're finished, Trustee Muhammad,
Yes, ma'am.
I would like to also state that, Matt, maybe you might be able to chime into this. In the old Village Hall is some plans down there that the village paid for years ago for the planning committee and things that, the vision for this community. Is it any way possible you could maybe bring them up here so we can take a peep at them when you get an opportune moment?
Yeah, I could go over there and check on those.
Thank you, because we would like to look at their plans, since we already paid for the plans some years ago, to take a look at it and see what our prior administrations had spent all this money on to put plans together for this community. At least let us take a look.
If I may, Trustee?
Yes,
You may be referring to the comprehensive plan, which
yes.
the board, shortly after Mayor Rogers was elected mayor, approved, but it had been commissioned by the previous administration. And I do have a copy of that. The trustees that were on the board in 2013, of course, received it, but those who came after did not. But I'd be happy to forward that to everybody.
Oh, thank you so much. Appreciate that. So if that's it, everybody is in agreement to that, we'll take a vote at our next board meeting. The mayor isn't here. I understand that his friend is real sick and he's attending to her side, so I hope everything is well with her. She's a very nice lady. If there are no more questions, we can have... Oh, I'm sorry, come on. Mayor, the mayor's report.
Thank you, Mayor Pro Tem, Clerk, Board of Trustees, and department heads and residents. Of course, you know that Coffee with the Mayor is coming up this Saturday. In honor of Veterans Day, we have a speaker from the U.S. Department of Veterans Affairs, Mr. George Aponte, who's going to be there to give us information. So if you have anyone who is a veteran who is in need of services or any of your family members, please invite them out. We'll also have Attorney Mario Reed, who is the Public Information Officer from the Cook County Recorder of Deeds, who's going to be there. If you've ever heard any of his presentations previously, you know he has a lot of information, good information for homeowners, landowners, and anyone who might be dealing with property issues. He'll answer all of your questions, and he'll also bring the forms that we always talk about in terms of what you do with your property after death. So if you have been asking questions about that, he'll be there to answer. We'll also give you an update on the American Cancer Society fundraising that we've been doing over the past month. Want to remind you about Tuesday, November 21st from 3 p.m. to 6 p.m. Of course, everyone is invited to the senior Thanksgiving dinner that has become a tradition. It's here in the village of Dolton. Everyone is invited. It'll be at the Dorchester Banquet Facility at 1515 East 154th Street for senior Dolton residents with ID. We're asking that you RSVP by calling 708-201-1690 by Friday, November 17th in order to guarantee your seat and those who you are RSVPing for. We also have coming up the tree lighting ceremony on Saturday, November 25th, 14014 Park Avenue. There will be hot chocolate, hot cider, and warm cookies, and also a special performance by the Thornridge High School Marching Band. So that is again at 5:30 Saturday, November 25th. And I will ask Chief of Staff Scott to talk to us about our winter coat drive.
Good evening, everyone. We're going to be having a winter coat drive. Believe it or not, there's kids here in Dolton that still do not have winter coats. So we're doing a winter coat drive in conjunction with Cabot House International. It's going to be for all of the kids for Dolton's elementary school children. We are going to be accepting coats here at Village Hall. We have a red donation box that will be out starting this Wednesday. It will also be at the fire station located at 140th and Park Avenue. It will be a red donation box located inside of the fire department. So if you have any questions, we will be collecting these coats from next Wednesday up through December 5th. So if you have any questions, feel free to call me, but they will be here. The red boxes will be out. Please help these children in the community. Thank you.
Okay. So unless there are any questions?
Yeah, I got one. How is the dinner paid for? Is it paid out of pocket or through the village? The Thanksgiving dinner.
It is paid for out of pocket at no expense to the village.
Okay.
Trustee.
Quick question. A couple
Yes.
people been calling me as far as food vendors, and they just want to know who do they contact in order to bid or.
They can contact me for sure.
Okay. Can you give your number and everything
Yes. It's 708-201-3348.
And we did
Thank
get that
you.
one message from you.
The one lady?
Yeah,
Okay.
absolutely.
Yep.
Okay. Any other questions or concerns? All right. Thank you for your time and attention.
Thank you, Mr. Trish. Thank you, Ms. Scott.
Yeah, one person will have a closed session, but after public comment.
Okay. Citizens address, you can come up to the podium if you have any questions, concerns. Chief Collins, 3 minutes, please.
3 minutes.
Good evening, how are you?
Good evening, everybody. How you doing? I just had a quick question that I don't know if I heard the right thing, and I know each one of you are determined to make the village better. And you know, one thing that I did hear, I thought I heard Trustee Muhammad. Did you say when you were talking about the grant writers that you had two presentations this evening for grant writers?
Originally, we had two. The other one had a scheduling conflict.
Okay, so if they had a scheduling conflict, then, so that means that that person was not going to be given the opportunity to make a proposal. So if I'm understanding correctly, the board already agreed to accept the young lady based on the documentation that she presented this evening. And I take exception to that because the documentation that was presented, if I'm understanding correctly, was from 2013. So when you took the vote, you voted on items that occurred or appeared in documentation that was 4 years old, and I did not hear anyone say with the necessary corrections. So if you knew that there was a second, would that not have been fair to table that?
Let me answer your first question. I'll let
Okay.
Trustee House answer your concern with the other grant writer. But if you were listening, you heard me say that we would make revisions on the 2013 contract, such as the dates, but everything therein was basically the same. The clerk also has the record, and she also has a note from the trustee that contract will be revised. So it's not going by the 2013. The only thing different in the 2013 agreement was the dates. But the services are the same, the cost of doing business is the same.
Okay.
And
Yeah, I
Trustee
did hear
House
you
can-
say that, but I didn't hear it said when the vote was taken. And I was just curious because I didn't know if this was a no bid. You know, I don't know if that's the correct term.
No, that's
but
not
you-
the correct term.
Okay,
That's-
well, you
that's-
did say, well, that's why we have you to, keep things straight.
Okay, let's answer your other question concerning the other grant writer, and Trustee House
Right.
will respond to that.
And
Okay.
if I can, there was actually an RFP put out for this opportunity. There were a couple that did apply. The one that was unable to make a scheduling conflict also had notification of it approximately 3 months or so ago. So the scheduling conflict, while we do understand that, I think as a board we decided we wanted to move forward.
Okay. Same thing applies to Spear Financial. Would that be the same? Only one presentation?
Again, there were 4 presentations done. She was the best of the 4 that came forward, and she was the one that we wanted the residents and the new board members to hear again.
Okay.
But there were 4 persons that came before the Finance Committee earlier this year or later last year that did a presentation at a previous finance meeting that I happened to be a member on that committee, and I felt that she offered such a great service at a low price to the village that she should come in and do a presentation again.
Okay, well,
We've reached our 3-minute mark.
that's good. I appreciate that. Thank you.
Thank you. Good evening, Mr. Creighton.
Good evening. I have 2 questions. I can ask them both at the same time. I don't want to violate my 3 minutes. How do you want me to do it?
You can ask, go ahead.
One at a time?
Yes, one at
Okay.
a time. That'd be
Just to, the previous speaker kind of hit on what I wanted to talk about a little bit, is the accountability piece. Thank you for letting us know that on the, under old business F, there was an RFP. My question is on new business D, was there also an RFP?
Let me answer that, Mr. Creighton. Again, the persons came before a committee meeting, a finance committee meeting last year. And it was submitted also to the board at that time, and there was no decision made. And this is a new board, so it was presented to the new board.
Okay, and I certainly don't want to be obstinate, and I don't want to cause any confusion, but in 3 years, things change, okay? And I think what would have been proper was just to issue a new RFP. This individual may have been the best, but also keep in mind that, we have to have accountability, and part of that accountability is that we must do things proper. Just because, that individual was the best at that time does not mean today that things have not changed and there's a better. I know we can't reverse things, but when you do things like you've done tonight, it does leave the board open to some sort of skepticism. I'm not accusing anybody of anything. I'm just saying that properly, we should have just really sent out another RFP, and I think everybody would have been satisfied with that. Also, my second question is on the new business, item 8. Was there an explanation on what that resolution really is? Because I'm not sure what it is.
That's our,
The elected officials belong to, and most village employees are in Illinois Municipal Retirement Fund, IMRF. The IMRF allows elected officials to participate,
Okay.
provided that they certify every year that they spend at least 600 hours a year on village business. That's
Okay.
not simply board meetings, but all village-related business. So that's, by approving that, that's what the board voted on.
Okay. So, once again, it just substantiated the fact that they are putting in the 600 hours? Is that what it was?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
To,
Thank you
you know,
very
for
much.
pension purposes, so so they get the creditable service.
Thank you very much.
I think I put it more.
You guys do more.
Yeah.
Just at meetings.
Good evening. I'm
Good
not
evening.
sure of the proper way to address everyone, but I am a citizen, and I came to the meeting tonight because I wanted to give Dolton a compliment. I was on the website a few weeks ago. I had never been on the website before, and there's an area on there that says report a problem. So I put in there what my concern was, and which was a huge pothole that was on the corner of Meadow Lane and Sibley. And so I put it in there not expecting that it would get a response or anything, or at least not anything immediate. But Public Works called me within a week. I spoke with Angie from Public Works, and she explained that it wasn't actually a Dolton issue because where it is Sibley is a state road. So she said it's a state issue, and she had contacted the proper personnel, and she said if it's not resolved in a week, give me a call. So that was on a Thursday. The following Thursday, I gave the office a call, left a message, and saying that the hole isn't filled. I mean, it had people had put the orange, whatever you call it there, and somebody had put gravel over it, but it still was a huge hole and quite dangerous actually. So anyway, left the message on Thursday, but on Friday the hole was filled, and I called the office back on that following Monday, and I complimented her on such a quick response that Public Works was doing. I was quite impressed because the hole had been there for a while, and like I said, I just happened to go on the website and report a problem. I wasn't expecting for that immediacy to occur, but she said that she and her colleagues within the office are really putting forth the effort to make sure whatever things come across their desk is handled expediently. So I just wanted to come out and let Dolton know that I know Public Works is on the ball, and another department must be on the ball too. Forgot. There's a house that burned down behind me. It burned earlier this year, and so they've already, I don't know what entity has already come to demolish the house. It hasn't been carried away yet. I don't know who does that, but at least they've demolished it. Whereas another house had burned down behind me some years ago, and it was just demolished last year. So whatever entities handle this kind of stuff, I'm glad to see some things are happening.
Thank you. It's always good to hear something positive. Right. You could have 3 more minutes. No, I'm just kidding. Good evening, Ms. Creighton. How are you?
Good evening, I'm fine. To the board this evening, my question would be, thank you for inviting us for our support, our assistance on December the 1st. But my question was going to be, after the candy giveaway, was that, remember a few months ago, there was a special events committee put together, I thought. And has the special events committee been, sorry, Edward. Has the special events committee been active?
Yes. Actually, the announcement that you heard tonight, that December 1st for the children is under the Special Events Committee.
And if I'm not mistaken, you're on that committee.
Okay, I asked to be on the committee for the special events, and I've heard nothing, so that's why, when you stated you...
You are on it.
Okay.
Okay. We're going to have a meeting shortly. I was just actually trying to secure the place.
Right, I understand that, but I was just asking because of working, I thought I offered my services to be a part of the special events committee.
Absolutely.
And my other comment would be, if we could look at the packets of the individuals that presented this evening, is that, or do we have to FOIA that information from each of the presenters that presented this evening?
If you fill out the FOIA form, Mrs. Creighton, that's mainly just to keep a record of who's requesting what, but it shouldn't take any time at all.
Okay, so I can get packets of information that was presented this evening. Thank you. Also, there was a question asked about the senior Thanksgiving dinner. Is that sponsored through the mayor and the trustees? I know it was asked, I think Trustee Henyard asked where the money was coming from, but because normally doesn't the trustees, and since we began it, you guys help serve.
Right.
Is that sponsored with the mayor and the trustees? Is that a event collectively?
Let me answer the best of my ability, and then somebody else can chime in. We have a budget for special events and affairs, which comes out of the budget. The question was asked, where's the money coming from? And I heard that the mayor is paying for it. I don't know if they were talking about the Thanksgiving dinner for the seniors. My understanding, that came out of the budget, but maybe that's changed. I don't know.
So it is a line item, budget item, or no?
We have budgeted special events, and that was one of them that I know of since I've been a trustee for 2 years, unless that's changed. But I don't know if that was the question to the event for the seniors Thanksgiving.
Yes, it was.
Or not.
And Elizabeth, did you not say that you guys paying for that? That was the comment,
Yes,
right?
ma'am.
Yeah.
We also had the fall candy giveaway, which was last Monday. That was strictly funded from donations that I solicited. So we're trying to just solicit as much money as possible to save the village money.
Okay, so that's your answer, Ms. Creighton. It's through the mayor's department. It don't come out of the budget. They paying for it themselves for the senior dinner, the
But
Thanksgiving dinner.
the mayor and the trustees are all working together, right?
I agree.
And we're past the 3-minute mark.
Okay, so do I sit down and come back up? No, I'm saying for another 3 minutes. I meant no disrespect to anybody. That was just a question, because I do have to do that at the school board meeting if you don't answer, if I run out of time. But my next question was concerning the SROs in School District 205, preferably at Thornridge High School.
I'm sorry, can you repeat that?
The SROs, our officer that's at Thornridge High School. It came up at our finance meeting on last Tuesday concerning the SROs, and I hope that you guys are available to come to the school board meeting tomorrow evening, because they're due to replace the SROs at Thornridge High School, I know for sure, with is that a state Cook County Sheriff.
What time, Ms. Creighton?
The meeting starts at 6:30, and it is a part of the agenda. And we also asked had they spoken with our chief, and they stated no, but I wanted to understand why the SRO at Thornridge would be replaced with the state police. So if you could, the meeting at Thornridge High School is a school board meeting tomorrow evening.
Is it a state police or a Cook County Sheriff?
Cook County Sheriff.
Okay.
Cook County Sheriff, but at any rate, Cook County Sheriff at high school. Okay. So if you are available, I'm asking for the trustees and whomever residents to attend the meeting tomorrow evening. We don't understand. That is a $12 million budget that they're taking upon themselves to spend as they see fit. and there's no question about how it is or how it affects us. And we're the taxpayers. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Gray.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen.
Good evening.
Stan Brown, off Dante, Mayor Pro Tem. Yes, sir. Mayor Pro Tem and Village Board. I'd just like to throw a couple of things out. I'm looking at item C in new business, approving of a 1.1 million tax anticipation warrant to the new board members. We took out a 2.7 million tax warrant about 2 years ago, and that's 2.7, and now you guys are adding the 1.1 million with that. We steady looking at spending money out, and what are we doing to get that new revenue in? So that's something too that it would have been fair to let the new board members know we already did a 2.7 million tax exempt, and that money is still sitting out there, and we just add more on there. So just a little information for the new board members that didn't know about that. So we just ran up to about almost $4 million, and we don't have any type of revenue coming in, not unless some type of new revenue has came in that we wasn't told about. So right now we just digging ourselves more and more in debt. So that's unfair to you new board members that just voted on that. And just a little touch on Thornton Township Holiday Dinner, Saturday, December the 9th from 12 to 4. Doors open at 11:30 a.m. at South Suburban College. Everything is free and a lot of fun and food. On one dim note, Thornton Township has a Christmas tree lighting every year, and it brings all the 17 municipalities together. And I think we're going to be bumping heads with the village that's going to be doing a tree lighting November the 25th. And we'll be there competing with other municipalities such as Blue Island, Burnham, Calumet City, Dixmoor, East Hazelcrest, Glenwood, Harvey, Hazelcrest, Homewood, Lansing, Markham, Phoenix. And most of the time it's people from all these different municipalities will come and light their tree, and it's always good to have a good crowd there to show the representation of your village. So it's bad we working at the same time. The village is going to light their tree and out there. So I hope we get enough people to come out there and represent Dolton at the Thornton Township Christmas tree light. So I do have some flyers. I'll leave them here. But I just wanted the new board member to understand when you're voting on certain things, if you're not for certain, you want to at least ask that the board please give you a chance to read up on it, because you want to make the right decision. And right there, we just dug a deeper hole, ladies and gentlemen. Deep hole. Thank you.
If I can briefly, Commissioner Brown, Trustee Brown.
Right.
Yes.
Come on back.
No, he may come get me if he had to come back. No, I was aware of the 2.7 million that we did,
Yeah.
and also the 1.1 million that we just did. And I think it's kind of a tricky scenario we were put in. Some of the 2.7 has already been paid back, so we're not up to $4 million. We have done different revenue raising things, which included the special board meeting with the taxes that we just had to work to offset it. We are in a precarious place because we are facing $3 to $4 million worth of bills that are coming up December 1st, so we need to make sure we have cash in the bank for payroll and other essential items. So I don't know if I can speak for the rest of the board, but our immediate cash need is what kind of precipitated me voting for that. While we don't want to borrow our way out of debt, we are looking to do revenue raising things at the same time, making sure that we can make sure that the employees are taken care of.
And that's in all fairness. And just to take us back a couple of years, we were told by the then village administrator that $2.7 million will actually sit there. We wouldn't spend it. We were just trying to build up our credit rating. And it was thrown out that we want to make sure we get some salt for the snow. Just so happened it didn't snow. So it should have still been some money sitting up there. So it's good if something has been paid back. I don't know what type of super revenue that we put together to get that money back in there, but I'm just looking at the way we steady borrowing. We borrowing and we borrowing, and that's totally unfair. And just to say the village administrator then that told us that money was actually going to sit there, I never heard anything when he went in there and took some money out to pay whatever we were able to pay. That was never revealed to us. So I was on the assumption that 2.7 million was still there. So that's kind of unfair. And just a little add on that. I'm moving, Chief. I'm moving. In all fairness, also, you know, we're looking for a village administrator, but right now we do have a village chief of staff. So a village administrator, chief of staff, we get a little top heavy around here. So we need to look at that also. Thank you.
If I can say this one thing, Commissioner Brown, Trustee Brown, the money that was spent, it was spent on the raises because they had contracts out here for 5 years. You had Public Works, you had the police, not Public Works, I'm sorry. You had the police department, and you had the fire department that had their contracts out for 5 years. That's where the bulk of that money went to, because they didn't calculate it. When we borrowed the money, we was unaware of that they had these people out here, and we had to satisfy their contract because they was due raises. So that's where the bulk of that money went to.
And in all fairness, you know, that should have been revealed to the whole board.
Yes.
Maybe it was just
And
revealed
it should
to
have.
half the board, and then we would at least knew about that. But by not sharing that information, and I'm looking at board members up here now making decisions, and I know if they really knew what was happening, they might have changed that vote. So it's all fairness, so be fair with everybody, give everybody that same information. And if that money was spent in that direction, we should have been told that.
And we wasn't told that money would, well, we were told after the fact, but not before the fact, before they spent the money, before the money was spent.
But in all fairness, we need to know when that money gets spent like this, we stay filing. We doing these tax anticipation notes, and we steady getting deep and deep in debt.
Kiana Belcher, Evans Court. First, I'd like to commend the Public Works because we have some neighbors in our cul-de-sac, and they have trash like everywhere, but every time the homeward disposal come, the Public Works make sure that they clean our cul-de-sac, so I want to commend them on that. But I have a question, because when you guys were talking about the report for Public Works, they said something about tree trimming. I have a tree that's in front of my house that I guess would be considered a village tree. What are the criterias of like dead trees or getting it trimmed? Because when I had a tree in my yard, I just had to pay $3,700 to get it cut down because it was so big and going over to my neighbor's yard. But the tree that's, I guess, would be considered owned by the village or
On the
city
parkway.
property, yeah, on the parkway. What is the criteria of having it at least, if not cut down, trimmed?
You can call Public Works and have
Okay.
them to come out and take a look at it to see is it diseased, to see is it dead. And I'm sure they have no problem coming out. I believe I gave the number, but you already
Yeah,
called. You
I
have the
know.
number.
All right. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Any more? Anyone else? Well, that concludes our meeting for this evening. We're now going to make a motion to go into executive session. You don't have to stay for that. I appreciate you coming out. Look forward to seeing you at the next board meeting. A motion to adjourn this meeting and go into executive session.
For the purpose of, motion by purpose of.
For the purpose of personnel.
And also, update on contract negotiations on the counter proposal.
Personnel specifically,
Discipline action.
thank you. And collective bargaining,
Yes.
motion by,
Trustee Stubbs, second by Trustee Muhammad.
Please hold a moment, folks. They're still conducting business.
Trustee Muhammad,
Aye.
Trustee Stubbs,
Aye.
Trustee House,
Aye.
Trustee Denton, Trustee Pearson?
Aye.
Trustee Henyard?
Aye.
Motion carries 6 at 8:40 PM.
No, you can't leave. No.